Stop for 1 second. Answer this honestly. How many English words do you already know? Not 500. Not 1,000. Probably 3,000, maybe more. So here is the real question. If you already know enough words, why do you still freeze when it's time to speak? By the end of this episode, you will know exactly why that happens, and I will give you 5 small habits that fix it, starting today. Hello and welcome back to English Ignite Podcast. I'm Alex, and I'm really glad you're here. In today's episode, we're going to talk about why knowing English and speaking English are two completely different skills, and how to close that gap. This matters because most learners aren't failing from a lack of knowledge. They're failing from a lack of practice in the right shape. I will be speaking slowly and clearly, so you can follow me, and repeat after me. Let's be honest with each other for a moment. You understand movies. You understand YouTube. You can read an English article and follow it just fine. But someone asks you a simple question, "What did you do today?" and your mind goes quiet. Not because you don't know the words. Because your mouth has never practiced saying them. Here's the thing. Understanding lives in your brain. Speaking lives in your mouth, your breath, your timing. And those are two different muscles. You've been training one. Today, we train the other. You don't need more grammar rules. You don't need a bigger vocabulary list. What you need is repetition, out loud, every single day, in small doses. That's it. That's the whole secret hiding behind every fluent speaker you've ever admired. Think about it this way. Imagine someone who reads about swimming every day for a year. They study the strokes, they watch every technique video, they memorize the theory of breathing underwater. Then you put them in a pool. What happens? They struggle, because knowledge and skill live in different places. English works exactly the same way. Reading and watching build your knowledge. Speaking builds your skill. And only one of those gets you talking confidently at a job interview, a coffee shop, or a video call with a client. You can know every rule about swimming and still sink on your first try, and you can know every rule of English grammar and still freeze on your first real sentence. The fix, thankfully, is the same in both cases. You get in the water. Here's something else worth noticing. Have you ever rehearsed a sentence perfectly in your head, felt completely ready, and then the moment came and the words simply refused to come out the way you planned? That's not a memory problem. That's a practice problem. Your mind knew the sentence. Your mouth had simply never said it before under real pressure. We're going to fix exactly that today. And stay with me, because later in this episode I'm going to share a story about a listener who went 3 full years without speaking a single sentence to another human being, and what changed everything for her. But first, let's start where every real change starts, with your voice. Tip number 1, the 2-minute voice rule. Every day, speak English out loud for 2 minutes. Not think it. Not read it silently. Speak it, with your real voice, using your real breath. Here's why this works. Your brain can understand a language passively for years without your mouth ever learning to produce it fluently. Athletes don't get strong by watching sports on television. You don't get a speaking voice by watching videos in silence. Start simple. Describe your morning. I woke up. I drank coffee. I checked my phone. Nothing fancy. Just your real voice, saying real sentences about your real day. It doesn't need to be interesting. It just needs to be spoken. Let's practice. Repeat after me, out loud, right now. I woke up early today. Now you repeat. I feel ready to learn. Now you repeat. My English is getting stronger. Now you repeat. Good. Did you notice something? Your voice sounded a little different from your thoughts, didn't it? That gap, between what you think and what you say, that's exactly what we're closing, 2 minutes at a time. And here's something most people never realize. That 2 minutes doesn't stay 2 minutes for long. Once your mouth stops feeling strange, you'll want to talk for 5 minutes, then 10, without even trying. Try it once more, on your own this time, without me guiding every word. Take 30 seconds right now and describe, out loud, exactly where you are sitting or standing. What's around you? How the room feels. Nobody's listening except you, and that's exactly the point. This is practice without an audience, the safest place in the world to build a habit that will eventually carry you through real conversations with real people. That's tip 1. But tip 2 is where most learners start seeing real change, because this next one fixes the exact moment where fluency usually breaks down, the moment you're searching for a word and it simply isn't there. Tip number 2, the 3-sentence word method. Forget memorizing long word lists. Instead, pick one useful word each day, and build 3 sentences with it immediately. Let's say your word today is tired. Sentence 1, I am tired. Sentence 2, I was tired yesterday. Sentence 3, don't be tired, keep going. See what happened? You didn't just learn a word. You learned how it moves through time, present, past, and a command. That's real usage, not just a definition sitting quietly on a page. Let me tell you about a student I worked with, a young man named Marcus, from Manila. Marcus had a notebook full of advanced words. Words like magnanimous, ubiquitous, words he had never once said out loud in his life. He could define them perfectly on paper. In real conversation, he was completely silent. So we stripped it all back. 1 simple word a day. 3 sentences. Spoken, not written. Within 3 weeks, something shifted. Marcus wasn't reaching for impressive words anymore. He was using simple words instantly, without thinking, right in the middle of real conversations. What surprised him most wasn't how much he'd learned. It was how much he'd been carrying before, words he'd studied but could never actually reach in the moment, sitting there uselessly like tools locked in a box with no key. That's the goal here, my friend. Not impressive vocabulary sitting and used in a notebook. Instant vocabulary, ready the moment you need it, the moment someone asks you a question and you have half a second to answer. Let's practice this one together. I am ready. Now you repeat. I was nervous before, but not anymore. Now you repeat. Don't give up, keep trying. Now you repeat. Very good. Notice how natural that felt? 3 sentences, 1 word, real movement through time. Do this daily, and in 30 days you'll have 90 working sentences, built by you, in your own voice, ready to use whenever you need them. Try one more, right now, on your own. Take the word happy. Build 3 sentences silently in your head for a second, now say them out loud. Something like, I am happy, I was happy yesterday, be happy, it's a good day. It doesn't matter if your sentences are different from mine. What matters is that you move the word through time, using your own voice, without stopping to overthink it. That's tip 2. But here's the thing. Vocabulary and speaking only take you so far if your ears haven't caught up. And that's exactly the problem hiding underneath tip 3. Let me tell you a quick story before we go further. I once had a listener named Priya write to me. She said, Alex, I can build sentences just fine. But when native speakers actually talk to me, I understand maybe half of it, and I panic. This is incredibly common, my friends. And it's not because Priya's English was weak. It's because she had trained her reading eyes far more than her listening ears. Here's what fixed it for her. She started listening to slow, simple audio for just 10 minutes a day, and instead of listening passively, letting the words wash over her, she paused after every sentence and repeated it out loud before moving to the next one. 10 minutes. That's all it took. Within a month, conversations that used to blur into confusing noise started separating into clear, individual, understandable words. Tip number 3, listen, pause, echo. Play a short clip of English, slow and clear, nothing fast or complicated. After each sentence, pause it. Say the sentence back, in your own voice, copying the rhythm as closely as you can manage. This does something powerful. It trains your ear and your mouth at the exact same moment, using the exact same material. You're not just hearing English anymore. You're wearing it, like trying on someone else's shoes to learn how they walk, how they land on each step. Let's do a quick round. Imagine I'm the audio clip. Listen, then echo me. The weather is nice today. Now you repeat. I'd like a cup of coffee, please. Now you repeat. Can you help me with this? Now you repeat. Well done. And if you're still with me right now, still listening, still repeating, that already tells me something important about you. You're not just curious about English. You're serious about it. And that seriousness is exactly what separates the people who become fluent from the people who stay stuck at the same level for years. One more thing about listening, because this trips people up constantly. Don't choose content that's too fast or too advanced just because you feel embarrassed about starting simple. That embarrassment costs you real progress. A beginner who listens to slow, clear English for 10 focused minutes will improve faster than someone who listens to fast native conversation for an hour and understands almost none of it. Simple and consistent always beats impressive and confusing. That's tip 3. Tip 4 is a little different. It isn't about words or sentences at all. It's about what's happening quietly inside your head, before you even open your mouth to speak. Tip number 4, kill the translation reflex. Here's what happens to almost every learner, every single day. Someone asks you a question. Instantly, your brain grabs the answer in your native language, translates it word by word, checks the grammar carefully, and only then sends it to your mouth. By the time all that finishes, the conversation has already moved on, or you've frozen completely, standing there in silence. Fluent speakers skip that entire translation step. They think directly in English, even if it's just a small, simple thought about something right in front of them. Start tiny. When you look at your coffee cup, don't think the word in your own language first and then translate it. Just think, directly, in English, cup. When you feel hungry, don't translate "I am hungry" from your native language. Just let the English thought appear first, immediately, "I'm hungry." It will feel strange at first, like using your non-dominant hand to write. That's completely normal, my friend. Every fluent speaker you admire went through that exact same awkward, uncomfortable stage. Here's a small daily exercise you can try right now. For the next 30 seconds, look around wherever you are and label 3 things in English, directly, with no translating in between. A chair. A window. A phone. Simple, almost too simple. But you just practice thinking in English instead of translating into it, and that's the exact switch that slowly turns hesitant learners into fluent, confident speakers. You can even do this while doing chores, while cooking, while walking somewhere. Narrate small pieces of your day directly in English as they happen. I'm closing the door. I'm putting my shoes on. I'm almost there. None of this needs an audience. It's simply rewiring the very first reflex your brain reaches for, moving it from your native language to English, one small labeled moment at a time. That's tip 4. And I want to be honest with you, that one alone can transform how you speak within just a few weeks. But I've saved the most important tip for last, because it isn't really about English at all. It's about something much deeper than grammar or vocabulary. Before I give you tip 5, let's talk honestly about fear for a moment. Maybe you're afraid of making mistakes in front of others. Maybe you're afraid people will judge your accent, or laugh quietly at how you sound. Maybe you've stayed quiet in meetings, in classrooms, in everyday conversations, because speaking always felt too risky, too exposing. Maybe you've even rehearsed exactly what you wanted to say, felt the words ready in your chest, and let the moment pass anyway, because staying quiet felt safer than being seen struggling. My friend, I want you to hear this clearly. Every single fluent speaker you admire made thousands of mistakes to get where they are. Nobody skipped that step, not one single person in the history of language learning. The mistake isn't the danger here. Staying silent to avoid mistakes, that's the real danger, because silence never once improved anyone's English. And here's something worth sitting with for a moment. Most people you'll speak to are not secretly grading your grammar. They're not keeping score of your accent. They're focused on their own day, their own worries, their own conversation. The judgment you're imagining is almost always louder in your head than it ever is in reality. Once you truly accept that, speaking stops feeling like a performance and starts feeling like what it actually is, just 2 people exchanging simple words. Tip number 5, the most important one of all, the one-sentence courage rule. Once a day, say one sentence in English to another real person. Not to yourself in the mirror. Not to your phone. To an actual human being standing in front of you. It can be tiny. Good morning. That looks nice. Can I ask you something? One sentence. That's the entire requirement, nothing more. Let me tell you about Hannah, a listener from Osaka who wrote to me last year. Hannah could write beautiful, detailed English essays. But she had never spoken a single sentence to a real person, in 3 full years of studying, not one. She was terrified of the moment her voice would leave her mouth in front of someone else. So we made a deal. Just one sentence a day, to anyone, a cashier, a coworker, a stranger waiting at a bus stop. Day 1, she said, "Thank you," to a barista, and her hands were shaking the entire time. Day 2, "Nice weather today," to a neighbor she barely knew. Day 7, she asked a coworker a real question about their weekend, and actually listened to the answer instead of panicking about what to say next. Day 15, a short conversation turned into an actual laugh shared between two people. By day 30, she wasn't counting her sentences anymore. She was having full conversations, mistakes and all, without the fear controlling every single word. Here's what Hannah told me afterward, and I want you to really hear this, because it matters more than anything else in today's episode. She said, "Alex, I thought I needed better English to be brave. But actually, I needed to be brave first, and the English got better because of it." That's the truth almost no one tells you, my friend. Courage doesn't arrive after fluency, waiting patiently for you to earn it. Courage creates fluency. It comes first, every time. Let's do our final practice together for today. I am not afraid of mistakes anymore. Now you repeat. I will speak, even if it's not perfect. Now you repeat. My voice matters, and I am ready to use it. Now you repeat. Beautiful. Say that last one again tonight, out loud, before you sleep. Let it be the last English sentence you hear yourself say today, sitting quietly in your mind as you drift off. So let's bring everything together. 2 minutes of speaking daily, to train your voice. 3 sentences per word, to make vocabulary instant instead of buried in a notebook. Listening with pause and echo, to train your ear and your mouth together, at the same time. Thinking directly in English, to kill the translation reflex slowing you down. And 1 sentence of real courage, spoken to a real person, every single day, without exception. None of these require hours of your time. None of these require perfection, not even close. What they require is consistency, and consistency, my friend, beats intensity every single time, in every single skill worth having. Think about where you were when this episode started, just a few minutes ago. Maybe you felt stuck, maybe a little frustrated with how slow your progress has felt. That feeling is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's simply a sign that you were missing the right structure, not the right talent. You already have everything else you need. The words are already in your head. The understanding is already there. What was missing was a simple, repeatable path from silence to speech, and now you have exactly that. Remember how we started today? I asked you why you already know thousands of words, but still freeze when it's time to speak. Now you know the answer, and more importantly, you know exactly what to do about it, starting with just 2 minutes tomorrow morning, before your day even begins. Progress in English isn't loud. It's quiet, it's daily, and it adds up faster than you think, faster than you'll believe until you look back and notice how far you've come. 1 sentence today becomes a full conversation next month. 1 nervous hello becomes a real friendship down the line. And a year from now, when someone asks you how you finally became confident in English, you probably won't point to one big breakthrough moment. You'll point to 100 small ones, stacked quietly on top of each other, 2 minutes at a time, 1 honest sentence at a time, 1 small act of courage at a time. That version of you already exists somewhere ahead on this path. All that's left is to keep walking toward them, starting with tomorrow morning. So here's your only homework from today's episode. Before you sleep tonight, speak just 1 sentence out loud, to yourself or to someone else, it doesn't matter which. Let it be small. Let it be imperfect. Just let it be spoken. I'm Alex, and this is English Ignite Podcast. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep believing in yourself. Bye for now.